A warm welcome and thank you for joining us for this particular bulletin. I'm Ronah Nahabwe, together with Winnie Wiinza Nakauch in the sign language interpretation, and this is Business Today. Before we start, here's a quick look at what made the top stories. In Business Today, East African Business Council, PSFU and UMA convened to draft effective measures to exploit trade. SACCOs have emphasized the need for a unified regulatory system to streamline operations. And NSSF experiences growth from 3.5 trillion shillings to 7.3 trillion shillings since its inception. UCA advocates for a unified regulator. Now, the Uganda Cooperative Alliance has taken a proactive step in fulfilling its mandate by conducting a national consultative meeting with sector players. The focus is to address concerns over the current regulatory framework for savings and credit cooperative organizations in Uganda. Sector players have emphasized the need for a unified regulatory system similar to Kenya's to streamline operations, alleviate the burden of multiple regulations in SACCOs and cooperatives. Naomi Mutumba reports. A legal vacuum has emerged in the savings and credit cooperative organizations sector following recent amendments by the Bank of Uganda to the Micro Deposit Taking Institutions Act. The regulatory changes now grant Bank of Uganda the authority to supervise and regulate larger SACCOs, raising concerns among industry stakeholders. This expanded oversight applies to SACCOs with a share capital exceeding 500 million and voluntary savings surpassing 1.5 billion. Government came up with a new law which is called the Tier 4 Microfinance Institutions and Money Lenders Act in 2016, which requires all SACCOs to be regulated and licensed by Uganda Microfinance Regulatory Authority. In 2020, the Ministry of Trade and Cooperatives pushed for an amendment for the Cooperative Societies Act, which again brings SACCOs under the supervision and regulation by the Registry of Cooperatives. The regulations are at odds with one another due to the rules now in place controlling savings and cooperative organizations, who note that SACCO's underlying principles are being weakened by the many registrations. The State Minister for Cooperatives, Honorable Frederick Gumengobi, stated during the National Consultative Meeting that Uganda needs a single regulator relating it to Kenya.
To look at a successful cooperative model. And the successful cooperative model in the region is in Kenya. Now, in Kenya, we have one regulator. And I would also believe that we should have one regulator for the cooperatives. If one entity is reporting to a multiple of agencies, there will be a problem. So my advice is that this meeting of today is very timely.
So Kenya has a very good example when you talk about SACCOs and other forms of cooperatives. And for Kenya, they have a single regulator, which is SASRA, the SACCO Regulatory Authority. Now, we are asking ourselves, why not borrow it from Kenya so that we have a single regulator?
The government's calculated decision to forgive debts on savings and credit cooperatives in 2015 has proven to be a game changer, giving the cooperative sector a huge boost. This action has generated significant savings of over 10 trillion when combined with a 10-year, 30% corporation tax break, changing the environment for more than 50,000 registered cooperatives nationally.
30% ideally would be going to URA as taxes, but because of the exemption, the 30% goes to retain the earnings to grow the equity base of these SACCOs. So ideally, I can authoritatively tell you that because of this exemption, the SACCOs have moved very fast. That's why today you are told that the SACCOs, some SACCOs are now bigger than the commercial banks. A case in
you look at the tax is a cost, because it brings, it pulls out money from the SACCO. So when the tax exemption has been implemented, it means there is a cost saving. Okay, and of course, when we have a cost kind of saving, we improve on the profits of the members. So when the profits has been improved, that means members enjoy an additional kind of income to them. Because for us as SACCOs, our members are the sole beneficiaries of the SACCO. They save with us, and then they also buy shares. So at the end of the financial year, we pay dividends on shares, and dividends are paid on dividends are paid on shares. So meaning that we have more disposable income to pay to our members as dividends. So
amidst the remarkable progress made by SACCOs, discussions are underway regarding the creation of a cooperative bank. This potential development seeks to further enhance the financial services available to cooperative members and expand the reach of cooperative movement.
On what they are doing. Secondly, these SACCOs, the good hand of the president and his kind consideration exempted the SACCOs for 10 years from paying taxes, and the arrears were abolished. I'm looking forward to seeing how have these SACCOs grown. Because if you have the burden of taxes and arrears and they are removed from you, you must also make a point that emanating from this resolution, we have moved a step and another step. That is very important. The SACCOs are many. I also disagree with them to say that we want to form a bank built on a SACCO. That is going to create a lot of conflicts. Let them form a bank of their own for all the cooperators to have shares. You look at Wazalene.
We have SACCOs and other cooperatives. By the way, we now have close to 50,000, even more. 50,000 registered cooperatives from primary up to apex. Now, all these ones, don't we have the capacity to have our own bank, which is a cooperative bank? So even here, we are discussing it. It's among the issues that we are looking at very critically. And we are so appreciative of government, because government is also very positive. They want us to have a cooperative bank, but they cannot have a bank without cooperators. So as cooperators, we agree that we can capitalize this bank.
As stakeholders wait for the regulatory clarity, cooperative leaders, industry associations and legal experts are actively engaging with the relevant authorities to address the legal gap and advocate for a robust regulatory framework that aligns with the unique needs and characteristics of larger SACCOs. Naomi Mtumba, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Moving on to URA's post-budget reaction, earlier today the Uganda Revenue Authority held a post-budget engagement for financial year 2023-2024 with various stakeholders. This focuses on leveraging commercial agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services of digital transformation, and market access is yet to unlock the country's full potential.
Uganda, known for its rich natural resources and diverse landscapes, has immense potential for economic growth and development. However, to unlock this potential and create sustainable prosperity, it is crucial to adopt a comprehensive approach that encompasses various sectors of the economy. Uganda Revenue Authority continuously embraces digital transformation as part of 2023-2024 financial year budget theme, ensuring efficiency in record keeping and accuracy in tax assessment.
Warehouse management information system that basically improves the whole experience of goods that come through. We have rolled out non-intrusive scanning that also takes away the burden of a lot of time spent on physical verification of goods, because we can scan them and see them. And then there is a single electronic window which also helps the customer experience. So technology is helping us move forward. And I'm so happy that it's part of the theme of this year's financial year's budget, which is about digital transformation of our society. So we are beginning with revenue collection.
Despite this, URA recognizes these worries and is laying the groundwork for a revolutionary strategy that will streamline tax collection by enhancing its interaction with taxpayers.
The reflection of taxes into performance, the budgetary performance. And that's why I posed the question, are you happy with the roads? And the people said no, because those are the public goods, the reasons as to why they pay taxes. When you go to hospitals, are you happy? And the people responded no. And the third one was the issue of schools and they were not happy. So for as long as people pay taxes and they don't see it reflected in form of services, they will be demoralized in tax payment. But for as long as they see infrastructural growth, then they will be comfortable, they will be happy, because these are the common goods that we use.
Our only concern is that how do we benefit from the taxes we pay? We see in developed countries, people pay their taxes very well, and they enjoy their taxes. They have good roads, good hospitals, which is not the case in Uganda. Ugandans pay taxes, but they don't enjoy good schools.
URA has a vision goal of 9 million taxpayers, up from the present 3.2 million, in accordance to the population of the country.
As Uganda Revenue Authority, we are dedicating ourselves towards a better relationship with our taxpayers. How shall we do this? The elements of improving our service delivery have already been mentioned. We want to improve your experience. But also the approach, the suspicion, the attitude towards one another must change. For the right reasons, some taxpayers have noted us as tough, harsh, ruthless people who just want to take your money and do not care about the improvement of your businesses. This attitude or conception we must improve.
The budget target for fiscal year 2023-2024 outlines a collection of strategic options and the government's commitment to improving enterprise productivity and competitiveness, as well as wealth generation and job creation.
Consequently, in upholding its commitment to attain our cherished goal of the middle income status for the country, the government has made targeted interventions geared towards inclusive growth and socio-economic transformation. In relation to the above, a number of key initiatives have been prioritized by government as follows. 1. Effective implementation of the parish development model to lift more Ugandans out of the subsistence economy.
As we embark on this journey towards full monetization of Uganda's economy, accelerate inclusive and green socio-economic transformation, redirecting resources towards supporting and sustaining economic recovery, jobs and wealth creation is imperative. Bronia Katsime, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Now, members of parliament from the opposition have demanded for accountability for the money that is given to security to safeguard the lives of Ugandans and the property, yet many killings are still happening in the country. This comes after the ADF rebels attacked and killed more than 40 students in a secondary school in Kasese district. These also want government to compensate the families of those who lost their loved ones.
Security and guidance were granted more than 9 trillion shillings in the recently passed budget on top of a classified budget. Recent gun violence incidents and the recent terrorist attacks that took place at a secondary school in Kasese have both plagued the nation. According to opposition members of parliament, government should come out and account for the large sums of money that parliament allocates for security in the face of terrorist attacks.
In the district we have people called DISO. We have GISO at Gombolola, we have PISO at the parish level, we have VISO at the village level. Several questions are being asked. Where were these people? How come that no explanation can be given whether they slept at job? We are wondering whether these people are being paid, and it is one of the areas where you should point your fingers and ask whether they are also pretending to be working, yet in actual sense are not working.
You see in the budget, they get most of the country's share. They even has a classified budget. But when you look at the situation that is happening, you may think, what are they doing? Are they just there enjoying the taxpayers' money, or they are doing their role to protect Ugandans? What's the role of intelligence, crime intelligence in this country, with all the budget they have?
The lawmakers say they have information that UPDF soldiers have gone 8 months without pay and most of them have lost morale to do their jobs because the attacks in Kasese happened at a school which is just a few meters away from a police station and a UPDF brigade.
10 civilians killing pupils in schools, I think we really condemn this seriously. And if you look at Kasese matter, the killing took place very near the police stations. And the culprits and those who are acting in the killings, they took their time. They took their time. After the completion of the killings, the police now went, other security team now went, cording the place, pretending that they are very serious. Yet, those people, the attackers, we were told that they even threw something like bombed in one of the dormitories. And
which arose a few weeks back about Somalia.
These have called on government to compensate the families of Ugandans who lost their lives in the attacks.
Similarly, we are questioning ourselves and we want to caution government. This time to compensate the people of Kasese. The law provides that the commander-in-chief of the armed forces is Mr. Museveni. Many times when people lose life, he has been seen forwarding the so-called Mabugo. 5 million, 2 million, which even never reaches. We want compensation in accordance with the law because these are Ugandans who lost life and they had the right to live. Government must compensate for their lives, but as well we must come up with an elaborate program of offering protection and to the citizens of this country, protecting and guarding our borders where possible. Let's pay well our soldiers. We believe they have the capacity and capabilities, they have the neighboring training, but they need facilitation in terms of equipments.
Similarly, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Mong, has denounced acts of terrorism against innocent children and urged government to provide Parliament with a detailed explanation of what occurred as well as possible next steps.
This loss in the strongest terms, and such acts should be very unproductive, should be investigated, and the perpetrators should be brought to book.
In the 10th Parliament, government borrowed over $104 million from Standard Chartered Bank to finance the national CCTV network expansion project. Over 300 billion shillings have so far been disbursed to police, but legislators have demanded that before more money is appropriated for Phase 3, they need accountability for the functionality of the present CCTV cameras in combating crime. Samlanifa, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Let's now find out why reporting on financial markets, financial reporting matters. Inconsistent accounting practices are a result of inaccurate financial reporting, which in turn contributes to business failures in Uganda. To respond to this problem, the Institute of Certified Public Accounts, in partnership with the Capital Markets Uganda Securities Exchange, is set to organize the 13th edition of Financial Reporting Awards to encourage effective communication of financial and business information.
Accurate reporting in financial statements and other documents is vital for internal and external stakeholders who rely on information to make critical management and investment decisions. Reports further indicate that inconsistent accounting practices are as a result of inaccurate financial reporting, which in turn contributes to business failures in the country.
Any updates at the capital markets?
The Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda, in partnership with Capital Markets Authority and Uganda Securities Exchange, is therefore set to open for the 2023 Financial Reporting Award entries under a theme Environmental, Social and Corporate Governance. According to CPA Stephen Eneget, the aim of the 2023 FIRE Awards is to encourage effective communication of financial and business information, showcasing best practices in financial reporting, promoting and institutionalizing transparency, integrity and accountability in the corporate reporting process.
What is it that we want to achieve? Out of this exercise, we want to ensure that we check effective communication of financial and business information. So we want to encourage companies that this is the way you're going to communicate.
Small and medium enterprises in Uganda face particularly constrained access to finance, according to Sembia Dixon, Director of Research and Market Development, Capital Markets Authority. For any business to access market-based financing, accurate financial reporting is key.
Now, for any business to be able to access market-based financing, now when I talk about market-based financing, what I mean is that non-bank financing. So for you to be able to access market-based financing, one of the key requirements is your financial statements, your financial reports. Now, for a provider of capital, if I have capital to deploy, I would really like to look at your financial statements, and there are so many reasons why. I want to look at your profit margins, I want to look at your growth, I want to look at your cash flows, I want to look at your earnings per share.
Many people may not appreciate, but we have had very few corporate failures compared to what happens globally. Reason being, we are continuing to build the culture of transparency in our reporting. So it's very important, therefore, that companies embrace.
The risk of inaccurate financial reporting include bad operational decisions, reputational damage, economic loss, penalties, fines and legal action, and even bankruptcy. Pedson Mumbere, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
Moving on to supporting investment growth, as regional markets grow, extra opportunities have been brought forth for emerging enterprises amid its concerns on policy and effective utilization. Through the East African Business Council, Uganda Investment Authority, and RSM, a global tax audit and risk advisory enterprise, government and the private sector have pronounced extra efforts in protection of the emerging startup ecosystem to support the much-needed investment.
Over 2 million job opportunities across agriculture, services, and technology, for instance, have been created by small and medium enterprises, and 718 businesses have started as of today. The East African Business Council, Private Sector Foundation, Global Audit and Tax Giant RSM, plus Uganda Investment Authority are now working out means to effectively exploit cross-section production, enhance business involvement and prosperity through trade and investment, with the SME sector still involved.
What are those sectors that we have enormous potential? We will be looking at a number of sectors where the region has both comparative and competitive advantage. Agriculture and agro-processing has been one of the sectors that has been identified. Two, the region is leading in terms of financial services, and that's why the banks are very keen to share their experience in terms of financial services. We've been also looking at the region repositioning itself in terms of pharmaceutical related products. We'll be looking at the transport and the logistics, and also automotive sector that is also creating enormous jobs.
The ratio of Uganda's public expenditure to gross development product is rated at 21% as of last year, and the broader tax base is a major consideration by the Revenue Authority. Global Audit, Tax, Risk Advisory and Consultation Entity, RSM, has in a similar development partnered with the East African Business Council to extend expert services to the growing private sector in face of the evolving compliance demands to the regional tax regime.
You must be a compliant taxpayer. Educate yourself in what is required, particularly in where you lie. We have the presumptive tax for the small taxpayer. That also is there, but how many people know that? Very few know that. So let's first educate ourselves on what the regime and where you lie. Get yourself a tax consultant who will help you navigate the questions with respect to taxes. I do acknowledge that the taxes are high, particularly now that the digital economy is now beginning to take root in the country with the advent of technology. And of course, it's unfortunate that the taxes are heading that way, especially where our youth have been innovative in starting their businesses in those areas. So I do empathize with that.
Emmanuel Wusulwa, a startup holder with SchoolX that specifically targets digital administrative services to schools, admits the need for adequate capitalization, but with emphasis on special target sectors for innovation, despite underlying challenges.
Capital is available, but we just don't know how to actually reach it. The entities that are giving out capital maybe are too locked up in a certain sector. Right now you find that most of the capital, a big percentage of it, more than maybe 60% of it, is going towards people in the energy sector, agribusiness, agro-processing, things like that. So when you come up with a service, you're not recognized. For example, some of us who are innovating in education, no one is looking into it. But if you innovate in health, everyone is like, oh my goodness, we need some of that. So also the sector in which you're innovating is key. It matters. So some sectors are blessed. Energy, renewable, sustainability, things like that are now thriving. Even health is doing well.
According to Uganda Investment Authority, government is dedicated to enforcing skills among youth with provisions such as Uganda Industrial Research Institute on course and incubation centers, for instance. The move intends to emphasize youth and women-led businesses to thrive.
We've heard about the business incubation centers. You know about the Uganda Industrial Research Institute. So I believe that youth in the region, I will not speak only for Uganda, and also women, should take advantage of all these initiatives. Uganda Investment Authority is not waiting for you at the end of the road. We are waiting for you right from the start.
Inclusive policies for SMEs, supportive infrastructure, market awareness, and preparedness remain among the key elements for investment growth and uptake of numerous market openings, such as the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Ivan Tibenkana, Smart 24 TV, Business Today.
All right, Business Today will now take a short break, but we will return with more. Stick around.